Oh, you think for yourself? We like that around here. This is American Viewpoints with Mike Ferguson.
You've heard of lobbying lawmakers. You could even say that campaigning to voters is kind of a lobbying as well. But what about lobbying judges and the judicial system? Is that just free speech? Is that something that could be considered sort of deep state-ish, to quote Vivek Ramaswamy? Well, when it comes to some environmental and other really hard left positions, there may be some very quiet lobbying that's happening, and you need to know about it. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thank you for making American Viewpoints part of your weekend. I am now joined by O.H. Skinner, and he's the executive director of the Alliance for Consumers. And this sounds very sort of cloak and dagger, and I know it's not really that way, O.H., but we're talking about what an education campaign, an actual lobbying group. This goes back to the Green New Deal that's being targeted towards the judiciary. How is this working? I mean, what are we dealing with?
I think cloak and dagger is a great way to describe it. So one of the biggest things that the left is going with right now is this huge campaign to take away products that you want to buy and punish companies that don't toe the line on ESG, on woke things, on whatever they're pushing, right? You know that. Mm-hmm. And one of their biggest things is they're trying to go around and bankrupt anybody who they say has contributed to climate change. So they go and they sue a company and they say, you have to pay billions of dollars to fix climate change. Like, let that sink in. You fix climate change, which means like, might as well go jump off a bridge if you're an oil company. And in order to push those cases, they're running this scheme. This is the cloak and dagger, which is they're using the Environmental Law Institute's Climate Judiciary Project. Sounds so boring, right? But what they're doing is they're basically taking all sorts of people who are helping advance these cases, academics, activists, and they're building little training modules that are designed to tell the judges about how important climate change is, how important these cases are. The same people who are filing briefs in all these cases, who are pushing all these cases, and they're trying to affect these judges. And it's all a scheme and it's all underhanded because they're not being open with the judges, and they're trying to, influence the judges because if they can move a judge, if they can move this process, then they get a little closer to your point of getting a Green New Deal through the courtroom when it failed in Congress.
Okay, so is this a matter of, for instance, anybody can, file, a friend of the court brief? I mean, you've got everybody from the First Liberty Institute to the, Federalist Society, the NRA. I mean, there's a lot of different groups that file these. Is there something different about the Climate Judiciary Project that is beyond just, hey, here's our legal argument, here's our opinion on something?
Yeah, see, and I used to file those briefs when I was the Solicitor General in Arizona. I understand them. What's different is this group holds itself out as being neutral, right? So if First Liberty comes in, if I came in for Arizona and wanted to talk to anybody, even a judge, about a case, let's say that was all within the rules, everyone would know who I was and what I was doing. What's tricky about this Climate Judiciary Project is they hold themselves out to the world, to Republican governors, to the federal court system as just, we're just a neutral educational group. They try to work with state universities. And what they're secretly doing is taking all of these activists, building training modules, and then laundering them. It's just laundering them through, right? And so if they were open about what they were, that would be an entirely different thing. And so the biggest thing we're trying to do is highlight to, we've written to governors, we're going to be writing to Congress and other people soon about this wolf comes as a wolf. This is not a set of honest brokers. No one should treat them as neutral people. No one should treat them as like the friendly bureaucrats. You and I don't think there are really friendly bureaucrats, but these are not friendly bureaucrats. This is a front. This is, the laundromat at the front, laundering the progressive ideas toward the judges, right? And I think at that basic level, when you can call this wolf out as a wolf, it changes the entire dynamic.
We are visiting with O.H. Skinner from the Alliance for Consumers, and we'll tell you how to get in touch with them here in just a couple of minutes. So from a legal perspective, then, let me back up a little bit before I want to go back into the content, O.H. Is this a matter that this is First Amendment protected speech, or is it the fact that they're accused of misrepresenting themselves, put them into any sort of ethical or legal gray area that needs to be looked into, or is this just a matter of, hey, call them out, put the spotlight on, they're going to make their claim, that we're going to make their claim, but let everybody know who they are?
See, I'm more focused on the second one, which is I think the Federal Judicial Center should not be allowing these people to come in under the auspices of being a neutral, friendly voice, right? They would never let a hardcore conservative group come in and do judicial training. That's not what these, federal bureaucrats would do. So the federal bureaucrats should cut them off. And if you're in a conservative state, you should be asking your governor and your state university, if you're a student, asking your university if they are subsidizing this kind of a group, because this group traffics off of being neutral while laundering left-wing stuff. I actually totally believe that you should be able to say crazy things. And I actually like it when lefties say crazy things and tell people that they should live without air conditioning and all sorts of things, because it makes it easy for us to see who the enemy is, right? Especially from a consumer's perspective. So I think the biggest thing is they just shouldn't be treated as neutral when it comes to a conservative state or a conservative governor or a state university, because right now they are accomplishing their scheme by allowing left-wing dark money donors to funnel arguments through something that is currently accepted as neutral when it is not. And I think the minute you can pull that mask off, and the minute state universities can stop vouching for this group, all of a sudden everything gets a lot easier, right? Because then it's just a war of ideas.
So you mentioned universities here a couple of times. Are we talking about institutes and think tanks and research centers? Or are we talking about law schools where law students are being taught this as part of the curriculum?
We're talking about law schools and universities who will potentially host judges and say, come to our big state university and we'll run a training for judges, right? This is a thing that is in all intents good, right? If you're going to do that, you should never be laundering this Environmental Law Institute Climate Judiciary Project in as being an okay group, right? And so that's the real thing is having, we wrote to conservative governors and said, cut it out, right? Like, make sure that your state universities, if they're going to be training judges, if they're going to be trying to benefit the public, are not pushing this group through and basically giving them credibility. Make them go out and do their work like any other progressive group. Don't make their jobs easier by vouching for them. And that's really one of the biggest fearful things, right? Because people think their state universities are honest brokers. Again, you and I might not, but a lot of people do.
Okay, so Alliance for Consumers. Tell me about that. Obviously, the Climate Judiciary Project is on your radar. What's your role in the discussion?
Right. So the Alliance for Consumers is just a group that I founded when I left the Arizona Attorney General's office, because I used to handle big consumer protection cases. And the one thing I noticed was that big companies do a bad job of fighting for consumers, especially now that people like Joe Biden, give them so many subsidies. And a lot of bureaucrats and politicians don't do a good job. So we care about cases like this because these climate public nuisance cases are trying to take away the cars you drive, the products on your store shelves. They're going after Coca-Cola because they make plastic bottles. These are the kinds of things that try to take away plastic straws, plastic bottles, the cars you drive, anything that you like and use. They're trying to get rid of it. They're trying to get rid of your air conditioners, So we're fighting against stuff like this because this is how they change your life without you noticing it.
All right. And we find out more about it online on social media. How?
AllianceForConsumers.org and For Consumers on Twitter.
Okay. Really appreciate that. All right. O.H. Skinner, Alliance for Consumers. Hopefully people will check you out and see what you're all about. Really appreciate you being on the program.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. Interesting take there, because what I did not hear OH say was they shouldn't be allowed to speak. And that's the right one. It's they should be kept in their lane like everybody else, but also exchange the ideas above board. Interesting stuff there. Alliance for Consumers. All right. What do you think? Let me know. You can find me on Facebook. Just look up American Viewpoints with Mike Ferguson, or you can tweet at me or X at me, whatever it's called now, at AVP Radio Show. More American Viewpoints coming your way just ahead.